Hey gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me for our chipping and pitching clinic this week. So I just want to summarize some of the main things we discussed during our time together. So to start off, we just had a brief discussion about the grain here at Menlo, and learning that if you take your club and you brush it against the grass, if this grass starts to stand up, that means you're into the grain. If you brush it and the grass goes down, that means you're down grain. So when you come up to your golf ball, look down, see which way the grass is laying on the ground, and that's going to tell you a lot of what you need to know. When you're into the grain, so when you pull the grass up and grass comes up, when you're into that grain, the shot gets very tough, much tougher. So I might recommend putting those type of lies. Down grain, you have a lot more room for error, right? So when I'm down grain, I can land the club anywhere between here to make good contact. When I'm into the grain, I need to land it at the ball or slightly in front of the ball. I can't land the club behind there, which leads me to what we spoke about with our setup and with our technique. So I'm going to take a tee, I'm going to angle it into the ground and push it almost all the way to the ground. From here, I'm going to measure about 2 club wets and put my club down. So what we're working on is we want to work on hitting the ground in the right spot. In order to do that, number one at setup, we need our body and our shaft to go from this neutral upright position to slightly leaning forward. So I'm going to take my buttons of my shirt, I'm going to move them slightly in front of the golf ball. While I do that, the handle of the club is going to go slightly forward. That's going to help me land the club further in front of the ball. Okay, that's our main setup key. In our swing, the main thing we need to do to make sure we're not hitting the grass behind is we need to make sure our weight is staying on our front foot. Okay, the club's finishing low over here in order to be very successful. If we start to shift our weight back or lean back, then we're going to probably have a problem with chunking it or thinning it. All right, gentlemen, so we're really working on getting this weight a little forward here. Keep that weight more forward. Club finishes pretty low. What you should start to be able to do with this drill is you should be able to miss this tee very easily, okay? One thing I want you to notice when I'm doing this, we spoke about it for a little bit. Look how I'm standing up tall here in that follow through. And so a visual cue that I'll sometimes use is imagine there's a little wall that's right at my eye level. When I'm following through, I want to be above the wall. I want my eyes to be able to look over the wall versus looking underneath the wall. You'll notice when I keep my head down how I hit this ground really quickly. If I come up, now all of a sudden I get a nice little click of the ground. I'm going to have a lot more success. Okay, so this is a fantastic drill to help you figure out how to get the grass, how to get your weight forward, and to really start to work on contact. Then you can bring a golf ball over. We do the same thing. Right, my weight's nice and forward. Club's finishing pretty low. We're off to a successful time. Once we get our contact consistent, then what we need to talk about is our distance control. So what I want you to think about is the ball is going to go this distance. You move the club speed-wise and length-wise in the backswing. We don't want to create our distance by the follow-through side of the swing, meaning we don't want to accelerate the club through and we don't want the club to finish really high. If we think about it as a 3 balls hitting each other, we got to create this momentum. The club never goes through as far as it goes back. Same thing in chipping. So if it goes back to your waist, it's probably only going to go through to about your thigh. If it goes back to your stomach, it's probably going to go to your waist, and so on. So work on the swing length, work on the contact, take the golf ball out of the equation, and let's build some consistency in our ground contact and our follow through, and we'll be off to the races. Once we do those, then you're just going to be learning what size swing you need for what distance, right? And then at the very end, we talked about what clubs to use. So do we use a sand wedge? Do we use a pitching wedge? Do we use a lob wedge? Well, you basically want to have two shots. You want to have a high lofted wedge, medium trajectory, which would be a lot of what we did this week. That'd be your 56 or 60 doing the shot that we're working on. And then we would want maybe a 52 degree, a 50 degree, a gap wedge. The same motion, the same swing, but that ball's going to go very low and roll. It's going to be a bump and run. So you want to have one high lofted wedge shot and one bump and run shot, and we want to utilize those whenever possible. If we get good at those two shots, we're going to be doing some great things around these greens. All right, gentlemen, so one last time, I'm going to get a nice setup. I'm trying to get my weight forward, club finishes low. Okay, that was really nice contact. Follow through was nice, and we're off to the races. So let me know if you have any questions. Again, take one or two things, work on that, then take another one or two things. Don't try to implement everything at once. Have a great week, gentlemen.